It's still the economy, stupid. Don't you ever forget that. I was listening to Ken Weaver with his dulcet tones and his sweet beard.
Thank you, Brother Chad.
Talking about the economy. Rich are spending, middle class and poor aren't. You need to fix that if you're the president.
Yeah, it's like we've talked about. He's got about a year.
You do. You got about a year. And egg prices are up. It's little things like that where people notice and people are like, oh, my God, the polls. You know what? Settle down on the polls. First of all, it's been a month. Secondly, as the Democrats are going, oh, my God, the polls are showing that you suck. The reality is what you're not talking about is the Quinnipiac poll that says the Democrats are worse off than they were even when they lost. So settle down. But you do have a finite time if you're the president to fix certain things and to get certain things in place. So a year from now, that you're sitting good, and people might go, you know what? We're gonna keep this the way it's going, because otherwise, as we all know, we have a fickle attitude, and we'll go, you're not doing what I asked you to do. All you've done is scream and yell, and you haven't fixed anything, and we didn't sort anything out. You didn't do all the things you want. And remember, this isn't about you that loves Trump. Okay? You didn't get Trump over the line. This is about that exhausted middle group of people who are sick and tired of all of this crap and look at Trump and said, all right, guys, we're going to give him a chance. Let's see what he can do here because this last 4 years hasn't worked. That's what this is about. And you got to make sure that you put them in a situation where he feels like, hey, these Republicans we have in place that are in the Senate and the House, not only are they good, they're doing everything they're supposed to. Everything is strong. We're rocking and rolling. We're moving forward. This is going to be great. Because the last thing you want is 2 years of you having to defend yourself from Adam Schiff. Oh, God, you don't want that. No more dip Schiff. That's what I call him. He's the worst. Not a long ball hitter. Pencil neck.
I have heard all kinds of nicknames for him. I have yet to hear that one.
It's a fantastic
That one might be the best.
He is, and that's who he is. I mean, he's just the worst. I'm from Southern California. He was the worst when I was younger. He's the worst now.
Proven liar. Still.
Absolutely. He's got it in his pocket, guys. It's in the other room. I'm going to get it. Him and Tom Arnold. Remember? I got him on tape saying the N-word. This is it. Okay, we're waiting for it. Where's the tape? It's on reel to reel. And I don't have a reel. Do you guys have a? Oh, you don't? Oh, it's on DAT machine. It's in hieroglyphics. Yeah, clowns. But you've got to make sure. Look, we could sit here and go, oh, my God, Elon's the greatest, and yay for Cash Patel and all that stuff. You know what you care about at the end of the day? Is my life more expensive than it used to be? Is it getting better? Am I making more money? Are things going in the right direction? Are things becoming more affordable? Because that's, there's the old saying, oh, the world doesn't revolve around me. Yeah, my world does. Just like yours does. The easy fix when it came to, the easiest thing was immigration. Now, getting people out of here is going to be much tougher, but he knew that. But fixing the border, that was going to be easy. Elon doing what he's done. Look, I don't know what the real numbers are. It's $55 billion. I've looked. It's closer to $7.2 billion. I mean, that's not saving the world anything. But this wasn't about that. This was about talking about the insanity of waste in the government, the foolish things that we spend money on, all of that stuff that is like so old that we use. And I'm not talking about old. I'm talking about like the oldest stuff. It's like we're still using stuff like manila folders. Like, do you guys, hold on, let me write that down for you. Manila folders. Do you guys understand that?
Some of those offices probably still have typewriters.
They probably do. That's probably what you use. The only good news is you can't hack it. But that's about it. So Trump has got, really, I say by the middle of summer, if things aren't rocking and rolling, this is when people get nervy. And they will get nervy. And those people that are going to get nervy are the people that they want to change, they got it. And some people are ridiculous. Everybody's going, I want change in life. And then you give them change. Like, I don't want that much change. You're never going to win those people over. They're always going to be that way. But you've got to figure out a way, because it's not just about Trump. Trump's got his 4 years. It's what can you do to make sure that his 2 last years as president are smooth and he's going in the right direction. Because some people already think it's over. The likes of James Carville.
You know, it seems that the angrier Democrats get, the more it feeds into exactly what Donald Trump and Elon Musk want. Meaning, Fox News plays sound bites of Democrats' heads exploding as sort of sport. So what should they do from a media or political perspective?
This is what I believe. I believe that this administration, in less than 30 days, in the midst of a massive collapse, and particularly a collapse in public opinion. Once I saw a Harvard Youth poll, pretty damn good poll. He's gone from 53 approval to under 30 to 39. That's a collapse.
That's huge. I don't know if you're aware of this. That's pretty much what he was the entire time. And you're not looking. I mean, there's several polls that have him down in the mid-40s. Mid-40s, he would have killed for the mid-40s in his last one. We live in a time where 40% are going to hate you, 40% are going to love you. How does that 20% in the middle, the ones who will tip the scales of victory or defeat, that's what matters. James Carville, he gets it wrong, and at times he gets it right when it comes to some of this stuff. But this whole, like, within the next 30 to 60 days, this thing's going to collapse and there's not going to be anything, and public policy is going to be sideways, and everybody's going to look at Trump and think he's a failure. That's not going to happen. That's insane.
What I've said very publicly, the Democrats need to play possum. This whole thing is collapsing. It doesn't need Elizabeth Warren and somebody screaming to pacify some progressive advocacy groups in Washington, which, by the way, I wish these people were just useless. They're actually worse than useless, that they're detrimental. And they never, ever learn to shut up. And all we need to do is picket 500 yards from the stone wall. It's going to be easy pickings here in 6 weeks. Just lay back.
No, it won't be, and I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, the Democrats are still insane. The Democrats still run it stupid faster than anybody else. The Democrats will continually pick the wrong. They are so bad at picking. If you gave them cake or death, they would choose death. That's how bad they are at choosing. That's it. Like cake or death, they're going to go with death. I don't know why.
You literally think 30 days to 6 weeks, the Trump administration is effectively going to collapse in terms of public support?
Well, it's collapsing right now. We're in the midst of a collapse. This is the lowest approval, not even close, that any president has ever had at a comparable time. So they're not going to be able to get a debt extension. That's pretty clear. I don't think they're going to be able to pass reconciliation, but I'm not sure. But they're going to have to go to Hakeem, and that is going to be the equivalent of stacking arms. It's over. I think the House Democrats, I think they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly what's going to happen.
They know nothing. They are so useless. They are horrible. And the problem is they take their marching orders from the coast, where you can get away with crazy on the coast. You can't get away with crazy anywhere else. It doesn't work. Anywhere there's weather, they have a tough time. That's it. So he's right, though, about them screaming and yelling and going out and following stupid things and listening to activists. But he's wrong about whether or not it'll be done in 30 or 60 days. This is a marathon, but it's a 2-part marathon. The first one, you got to get to the halfway line. And that really is, like Ken and I were talking about a year from now. Even though it isn't until November that the midterms will come next year, you've got to be in position, because we know it's tough to turn people around once they're angry. So you better figure it out. Gas prices will go up a little, down a little at this point in time. And you've got summer coming up, so automatically there's going to make a little bit of a jump, because that's what happens. It's the rest of it that you have to focus on. And you're going to have to do this in a way where you keep the people informed about what you're doing and why you're doing it, because you want to continue to see winning. And this whole thought, like the polls, like what poll am I supposed to believe? Because you got one poll that says, oh my God, it's the worst he's ever been this time. But it's way better than he was before. And the Democrats are the worst they've ever been. So who cares? And even when Trump was awful as far as his polling went, Like his polling was in the dirt. He was still like 25 points ahead of the Democrats and the Republicans in Congress. For as bad as any president is, Congress always is worse. So, alas, here we are. But when I hear, it's the worst, and didn't DOGE hurt my feelings? He sent out an email. Who cares? You never got an email from your boss going, hey, what'd you do last week? You never got an email from your boss about anything? No, not these people. This entitlement is insane. And as I was telling Chris before, a bunch of people laid off today from Starbucks. Make America coffee again. They, I don't hear anybody crying about it. Anybody throwing a fit? Last week, you had a bunch of people let go from several different large, social media and tech companies. Nary a word from anybody. And the reason is simple, because it doesn't fit the narrative, and that narrative is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is the evil of government. It is the doughy middle that you can't get rid of, right? No shot's going to get rid of it for you. No amount of sit-ups is going to get rid of it for you. It just isn't going to happen. And so you're stuck with it. And that's the fight that Elon and them are fighting. And, besides cutting down the amount of people work there, how about we make things a little bit more, modern? But even at that point, there's a long way to go. Do you realize there's 75 lawsuits right now against DOGE and Trump? 75. As we've talked about, so much of this stuff is going to be decided in months and maybe in a few years because of the appeals process, up and down and sideways. It's going to be start-stop. This is a long-term play. This is not a short-term play. So, good times indeed. So much stuff to get there. Did you guys have a good weekend? What'd you do this weekend there, Bell?
Slept a whole lot.
Oh, my God. Was it great? What about you, Ken?
I enjoyed my wife and daughter coming back from a week where they were out of town, and then, my wife and son. Then my daughter came over on a Saturday, and we all went out and had a great time, and then I won the family game of Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, very nice. That's good. Cards Against Humanity. That's a good one. And that's probably what Trump plays. All right, now we're going to have to destroy this country. What country is this?
And then I told each of my family members if they wanted any more to just bring it.
Oh, good God.
I mean, I laid it down on them.
You throw it down. You ever play Exploding Cats? Is that what it's called? Exploding
Ken
Cats?
can be a harsh taskmaster.
Yeah. There's some good games. Exploding Cats. I was a Yahtzee guy.
I have not. What is Exploding Cats?
It's a game that somebody came up with, put it on GoFundMe or whatever, raised a ton of money off of it.
Oh.
It became big. It was everywhere for a while.
Well, I don't have a lot of money, so I'd lose that game.
Well, that's a good. I didn't know you were playing. I didn't know you could gamble Cards Against Humanity. It's good to know that you're a gambler. Goodness me. Make sure, kids, if you have trouble with gambling, call 1-800-something or other.
That's right. That's right.
Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to today. You want to reach out to us across all of our social media, please do. Of course, we've got our text line. We've got, what is the text line there, Bell? Tell everybody.
615-737-9986.
Yeah, that's the number right there. Check us out on Twitter. I don't think we have MySpace? No MySpace?
No, we had to close that one down.
Twitch?
X, Twitch, YouTube, and
Friendster?
Facebook.
No Friendster? We're
No
not on Friendster? Okay.
Friendster.
We're trying to get on Match.com, but it's hard going.
Tinder. Oh, we've got a dating thing. Guys, we got a dating thing. We're going to give you a little dating tip a little bit later on what to avoid in the world of dating.
If you really want to pick up a significant other, you go to the event at Nashville Palace.
That's right. Nashville Palace is going to be there March 4th. We're going to be there. Matt, if we sell out, Matt's going to shave his head, which would be fantastic.
Oh, that would be great.
With only a pair of scissors.
That's it?
Straight razor.
I got one of those and I almost bring it. I'm going to do like those guys. I've seen those guys, those Japanese stylists that light the hair.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to do that. It'll be cool. He'll look like Michael Jackson in a Pepsi commercial. Oh, jeez, Chad. All right, a lot of stuff to get to. It is Chad Benson Show. Happy Monday. It's Super Talk 99.7. Semi-annual sale going on at Omaha Steaks right now, 50% off site-wide. Now, what are you thinking to yourself? Well, what are you talking about? How about the semi-annual collection? Butcher cuts, top sirloin, triple trimmed filet, ooh, boneless pork chops, you name it, they've got it. 50% off. Plus, when you use my code Benson, when you check out, you get an extra $30 off at checkout. They got the winter best sellers, which include my favorite, the Polynesian pork chops. So many amazing things. You can even make your own. Right now, bite for bite, nobody's better. And this is what I love about them. They guarantee it. If you're not happy, get your money back. But right now, 50% off sale. It's the semi-annual sale going off. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use my code Benson. When you do, you will get an extra $30 off at checkout. omahasteaks.com. Use code Benson.
Egg prices are up, and so now are beef prices. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Donald Trump had one crisis. It was called the pandemic. You bollocksed it. Trump is casting his administration like it's a reality TV show. That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch, like what Castro used to do. A Mussolini moment. You know, a member of the old Russian Tsar family. We do have a fascist groundswell in small pockets among black and brown men, too.
There are the black Nazis. Bring them here.
Don't care about Joe Biden. He could roll around in a wheelchair. He could be on a skateboard. Donald Trump cannot be allowed back into the White House. Trump was returned to the presidency after staging a coup. It's the elephant in the room. Still a brown lady. She's getting birthered by Donald Trump. Targeting trans people is an age-old tradition, which Nazi Germany did. Who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. Like Trump, Hitler was also viewed as a clown, a goon to our local gangster, Donald Trump. He's already spending his time sitting in his golden palace, Mar-a-Lago, muscling other countries like he's Tony Tony Soprano with a social media site. And they will control enough electoral vote to never have to worry about another presidential election. Iowa is about 61% evangelical white Christian. They see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country. Republican voters don't vote that way. They don't vote based on economics. They're voting on race.
It's him or Trump. It's literally you go to a dinner and your choices are steak or a pile of poo.
She's dumber than a box of rocks.
Wow. What a montage.
I like that part in the middle.
There was nothing racist or hateful in that.
No. My favorite was black Nazis. Where's the black Nazis? Bring them to me. Basketball team is the best.
Wow.
She is the worst. I can't believe they let her go.
Yeah. Wonder what gives.
If we were just being honest, and it was just a straight, like we just looking at the numbers. All right, let's just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Their numbers are so bad in prime time that mid-level, and I'm talking about like we had our buddy Brad on a couple weeks ago, Brad Palumbo.
Yeah.
His stuff gets seen by more people in about 2 or 3 hours than their stuff most of the day.
Yeah.
And he's not even a massive streamer yet. He's on his way. But, I mean, that's how bad it was for them.
Yeah, I saw where her show was struggling to actually get 1 million viewers.
Yeah, oh, no, it doesn't even come close. But the 25 to 54, because somewhere along the line, we decided anybody under the age of 25 and over the age of 54 has no money and does not exist.
That's right.
But that's the most important thing, that they were averaging like 40,000 a night. Prime time. That's 40,000 for prime time.
I've seen all these tweets about how her voice has been silenced and the people she represents, they have nobody to speak for them anymore. It's like if she represents so many people, where were the viewers?
Yeah. Well, it's like we joke about the WNBA, but, like they should get this. Well, if you guys care so much about it, everybody should show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
You didn't show up.
Buy tickets.
Yes.
You don't even have to go. Just buy the damn ticket and close your mouth.
It's the same thing here, where if her voice was so powerful, why wasn't... You know why? Because even the people that may believe in her found her obnoxious. Found her absolutely obnoxious. They found her insufferable. Her and Adam Dipshift deserve each other. They should go off and get married.
It's going to take a minute.
Have angry little kids just waking up every day, just yelling at her. Mom, I feel oppressed.
Dude, you're brave with that dip shift.
I know, right?
Because, see, I'm telling you, I'll screw that up.
I know. Well, I've been practicing for quite a while. Because he is the worst. He's probably the argument, but he is. She's just insufferable.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, my favorite thing of everything she said was that Republicans would forego the tax cuts so they could walk around freely dropping the N-bomb.
Goodness.
She is, how do you live with, how do you wake up every day and just go, I think this is what America's talking about? No, it's not. The only reason anybody knew who you were over the last year is because Republicans, and streamers and radio programs and Fox would play your stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody else cared about you because you're useless. And now she's unemployed. Oh, it's a shame. No joy in Trump's America. Oh! And I don't want her to go anywhere. You know who she needs to partner up with? Brian Stelter. Oh, he's my favorite. Bring Brian back. Bring Brian back. He's so. I look at him and I think, if I saw you with your wife, I'd steal her from you just because. What do you think of those apples? You're just being mean. Yes, I am. Coming up, more stuff to get to, including romance. Kids, we're going to give you a little tip here on romance, okay? Because these men, they thought, she likes me. They didn't realize what was happening, and it was too late when it did. Talk about that, bunch of other stuff to get to. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
It's 12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. You're going to like what you're going to hear. We're waiting for President Trump to make some remarks. In fact, he is right now at the Oval Office. He's hosting French President Macron for bilateral talks at the White House today. I see that Secretary of State Marco Rubio is there with him. Both of them, the French president and President Trump. So we'll get you the highlights of that as they move on through this question and answer with the media. Meanwhile, some changes at one of the legacy media networks. Lester Holt stepping down as NBC nightly news anchor after 10 years. Joy Reid's show at MSNBC has been canceled. Here in Nashville, Nikki Burdine is out as morning news anchor at WKRN News 2. The Tennessean says it comes shortly after her co-anchor Neil Lorne left the station after 29 years. Jobs are going away at Starbucks.
The new CEO at Starbucks has a mission to reduce the complexity of the company's structure and to eliminate silos in the company. He says slow down communication. So to streamline operations, Starbucks will be laying off about 1,100 of its 16,000 corporate employees. Those impacted will be notified by midday Tuesday. Baristas in stores and those who work in roasting and warehouses will not be affected.
U.S. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson among speakers at the Americans for Prosperity Forum in Washington, D.C. today.
If you reduce taxes and regulations, you allow job creators, entrepreneurs, risk takers, the people that create the jobs to do more of what they do. And you unleash that power of the U.S. economy that has been smothered by government regulation for too long.
And then he said they need prayer to get reconciliation passed. Egg prices up, and so now are beef prices. Bird flu has now resulted in the loss of almost 27 million birds nationwide. Now the cost of eggs going higher. Wholesale cost for a dozen eggs now at $8.07. Grocery stores set their own price. Now we see that the cattle industry reporting beef prices rising as well because of high supply costs and drought. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
If you can watch YouTube, you see me dancing because my back is great. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell, so don't be late. Wellness Institute of Nashville, get yourself over there. You want to feel good? Big 47's going on right now. 47% off non-surgical decompression, spinal decompression. You want that. You want to feel good. You want to dance. You want to play pickleball. You want to run. You want to dance with your wife. What? They can help you with that. Listen up. It's important to be healthy. Well-being, not just for your body, but for your mind, your soul. It's great, and they are helping you like no tomorrow over there. I'm telling you, the Wellness Institute is great. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley are going to help you out. They've studied and practiced all over the world. They are amazing. And if you want to feel good, you want your 2025 to be rocking and rolling, do this. Get over there now in honor of the 47th president. 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. The big 47 offer going on now. Call them. Get a pain-free life going right on. It's simple and easy. Call 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or go to painisbad.com. Already the Macron jokes are flying in. The Macron jokes, what are those? Macron's wife is actually his father. It took like 2 seconds for you to mention that. I'm waiting for Trump to go, so is it true what Candace says, that your wife is your dad? Is that true? You tell me. Not that, hey, look, I'm not into freaky stuff like that. Maybe I am. You don't know. It's a little weird, but whatever. I'm waiting for it.
Oh.
Because you know that's the whole thing out there. And sure enough, people are like, I'm not into girls with... You know that Macron is married to his father. I'm like, oh, God.
Macron.
Macron. What are they saying? Macron. What are you saying?
I think the war could end soon.
Totally.
Within weeks. Yeah, I think so. Right? Don't you think so? I'd like to have you. I think we could end it within weeks if we're smart. If we're not smart, it'll keep going and we'll keep losing young, beautiful people that shouldn't be dying. And we don't want that. And remember what I said. This could escalate into a third world war. And we don't want that either.
We don't want that. Come on, be honest. You married your dad? You know he says. Candace told me you married your dad. I don't know if that's true, but I'd like to know. Oh, my goodness. We'll get back to some of that. I find it interesting. But this right here, kids, all right, I said I was going to help you with your dating, and I want to do that. If you're an old geezer, and by old, I mean you're in your 70s, 80s, but you're not all there, right? You need a little help. And you decide, I'm going to go on Tinder. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going on the Tinder and find me some ladies that love me. All right? So you go and you do that. Be careful out there because the lady, well, she got busy. She took lives as well as money.
The 21-count indictment alleging Phelps sold one victim's Apple stock worth approximately $3.3 million and unsuccessfully attempted to remove the $3.3 million from his E-Trade account.
We believe Phelps kidnapped one of these victims by heavily sedating him and pushing him across the U.S.-Mexico border in a wheelchair.
The FBI says 2 other victims were found dead shortly after their alleged encounters with her.
That's right. So she stole so much money from these old guys, these old geezers who thought, oh, she really loves me for all of my money. It's all about love.
We believe Phelps kidnapped one of these victims by heavily sedating him.
Okay, that happens. How do you know? He's older, right? Right. But then you tried to get him across the border.
Due to his inebriated state. Phelps then took him to a hotel room in Mexico City where the victim was found dead a few hours later.
I mean, this lady was absolutely going after these guys in major way. Kidnapping, murder, and they don't even know how many victims are out there because there's some that they think may have been attributed to just being old that may not be that way.
This is a romance scam on steroids. We have not seen one like this in recent history.
And I say this, guys, because I know there's some of you out there because you guys are hitting us up saying, hey, how many single women are going to be at this thing? Right? Because Bell put that out. They're single and ready to mingle. And there's going to be a lot of ladies out there, right? And some of you have said, I've been out to a few of these before, haven't seen the hotties. Well, they're coming out this time.
Well, that's Jason. Jason always leaves early anyway.
Always leave. Jason, you never stick around to see. We bring the hotties in later. They close the show.
Yeah, somebody walks in and goes, is Jason gone? All right, get the chicks in here.
Yeah, you don't want that, Jason. So, but I say this because if you're 80, right, and you look like a shriveled raisin, maybe if you see a 40-year-old, maybe you just stay away. She's not interested in you for love. Okay? Now, you can spend your money how you want, but you got to be careful. That's all we're saying here. We're not saying don't spend your money in any way that you think, oh, I want to spend my money. I got nothing else going on. That's fine. And she really blew it. You know how she blew it? Because I bet you every one of these guys would have continued to give her money, would have continued to keep her as a sugar baby. And instead, she wanted the whole kit and caboodle. And now she's going to spend forever in jail Ooh, ever and ever in jail. Insanity's always fun. And I look and I see all this wacky stuff that's going on with DOGE. It does make me laugh. It does. I mean, and partially because it's so overdone. It's overcooked, as the kids would say. It's overcooked. You overcooked that thing. Why is it overcooked? Because there's nothing here. 75 different lawsuits or 74 lawsuits. So they let off some people that were on probation. We talked about it earlier. Somebody even brought it up. The likes of Clinton got rid of, well, Gore, really. He tasked Gore with it. They got rid of about 380,000 people. Most of them, they were on probation and they didn't hire, or they just eliminated those jobs. Those were the things that happened. Watching people lose their mind over whether or not somebody sent an email about justifying your job. You guys want to hear at the height of insanity? This is a great story. So my buddy worked at AOL when it first started. And they had so much money, because this was back in the day when all you needed was a URL and an idea, and then somebody would give you $1 billion. So AOL was a little bit better off. But they got a bunch of money, and they, one time, put people by the door so you couldn't leave, and they were walking around asking everybody, what do you do here? Because many people, they were getting paid. They didn't even know what to do, because that's what happened back in the day. Now you take that and you multiply that by 1 billion. And what do you have? You have our government. As we're talking today, Starbucks laying off people. Apple laid off people, right? You've got Meta laid off people last week. We can go on and on and on about the people that are being laid off in places. And some of that is because you're in a group where, they're trying something and it's not working. Okay, so maybe this was going to be all, nothing but VR. It didn't work the way we thought. This is the group we're going to downsize here. Some of it is technology's advanced, but a lot of it is money-wise. We just don't have the money at this point in time to continue to do what we're doing. And people are angry and upset, and they're holding town halls, and they're yelling at people. You know what? Everybody needs to settle down. This isn't over. This has just begun. This is about the long term, not the short term. And most of the people that are mad aren't mad over the fact that Apple laid off people, or that Starbucks is laying off people, or that Meta laid off people. They're mad because bureaucracy got checked.
In that town hall with Rich McCormick, one woman said she was, quote unquote, pissed off. Another man described these cuts to various federal agencies, including the CDC, which is headquartered not far from where Rich McCormick held that town hall, as being, quote unquote, sloppily done.
Oh, sloppily. Well, you know what? It hasn't been well done at times. It's been confusing. You've got, I know that Kash Patel, Tulsi, Pete Hegseth told his people to all ignore whatever email they got from them because they're doing their own. But it hasn't been smooth. But it wasn't going to be smooth at this point in time. Not the way that government wants it to be, because there are ways that we do things. Well, in the private sector, there are ways you do things. And for somebody like Elon, this is the way he does things. Can you do this job? You can't? Okay, you got to go by. That's it. You got to go by. You fail fast for a reason. That's always been his big thing. I want to fail fast so I can fix it faster. And that's what's happening. Now, are all of these people who are getting fired and let go going to be gone? No. I think that there's going to be some courts that step in and say, you can't do that. There's ways of doing this. But I watched several. I mean, that's how bored I was yesterday. I watched several highlights of these town halls. And you know what I saw? Mostly people who didn't vote for Trump, some activists, all there and upset. Now, there were some people there that voted for Trump and were angry, felt like that this is moving in a way that they're not comfortable with and that it's going to be more of a nightmare. But most of the time, it was people that were already pissed. They didn't like Trump to begin with. So they make it seem like, well, these town halls are full of people who hated Trump and the anger was big, blah, 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 and everybody's unhappy.
I've been going through now these various town halls over the course of the week, watching them back, because frankly, we don't keep a close eye on these because they're usually not this lively. And there are other lawmakers, too, not just McCormick, who are getting pointed questions from constituents, some of whom say they're Republican voters, saying that they're not happy with what they're seeing.
That's okay. You're supposed to be that way. If you don't feel that this is working the way you want to, okay, have your voice. What did you expect, though? He said he was going to do this, and this is what he's doing. I think it hasn't been smooth. And one thing people want is, even though you say you're going to do something, they want it to go a certain way. Elon doesn't do a certain way. Elon does this, and this is his jam, whatever. But the losing your mind over this because you think these people, and I had several people reach out to me this weekend about what he's doing is wrong and it's illegal and it's not It's not. First of all, courts are going to decide several of these things. Okay? They've got protections in place. They'll decide several of the things. Secondly, before you lose your mind, can we function? That's the most important thing. Are we going to overfire? We did with the nuclear stuff. Let's pull that back a little bit. They're already hiring back some people when it comes to diseases and certain things they're doing. Okay. Now what? Well, now we're going to find out. And asking somebody to justify what they do, that's a little, if you're that worried about it, they ask you to put 5 things down. What'd you do this week? Busting my... Now, if you're only doing one thing, right? Let's just say you're only doing one thing. I'm working on a big case. This is all I'm doing. This is it. Okay, that's one thing. But if you come in and you say, look, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, boom, there you go. And we move on with our lives. All of us at some point in time has been told that we have to justify why we're there, whether it's through sales, right, or whatever it is that you do. We've all been told. This is the first time. And the problem is, and this is where they're struggling, they don't understand that America looks at you and says, we see entitlement in the way that you're acting. Now, that may not be true with 90% of them, but the way that media is portraying it is, it's all about the entitlement of you deserve this. And that's the issue they're having in a major way. And they better figure it out. Because if you think America's going, they're not. Not the way you think. Coming up, a lot of stuff still to get to. No, I didn't know if Macron is asked about whether or not, if he was asked, so did you marry your dad? Still so funny.
No, we just live together.
Oh, good God. That is just so weird. Have you seen the stuff Candace has put out there?
Not anything within the last week, but she's decided that the deep end is for her.
Yeah.
And she went off.
She did. She decided that this is like the deepest end. I mean, would it be a story? That's great. Look, you're French. Do whatever you want to do. Does it really change anything? That's the other thing. Does it change anything? Let's just say he did marry his dad. Weird, whatever. Does it change anything in your life? No. Just makes you guys weird French people. So just keep surrendering, all right? We'll keep doing our own thing. And it's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycon. You will love yours. Sound, second to none. Fit, second to none. Feel, second to none. Active noise cancellation with the best everyday earbuds around. It is awesome. And check this out. Multi-connectivity, fast charging. I'm talking about the best around. And right now, if you go to buyraycon.com/Chad, you're going to save 20% site-wide. You're going to get a 30-day happiness guarantee. My everyday earbuds, I wear them every day because they feel amazing, and I have to do so many other things outside of just radio, and having them on me, knowing full well that I can put them in, and I can charge them really fast. It's incredible. You will love these, but check out everything they have. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. It is 20% off site-wide right now for the best earbuds around, and everything else. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad today. Busy Bee Plumbing is ready to help you join the Beehive Club. Why is that? Because let's just say, for the sake of argument, you've got an issue when it comes to, I don't know, your plumbing. Here comes the Busy Bee. Right there. You're up to the top. They're going to take care of you no matter how many calls are there. That's why joining the Beehive Club is so important. Now, whether it's HVAC or plumbing, they've got you covered. And they got great deals going on right now. Purchase of a new complete whole home AC free air duct cleaning package. And when you buy the package, maybe you don't need an AC, but you need a whole new cleaning package. When you buy the medium one, as I like to say, you're going to get the big package upgraded for free. It's not going to cost anything. Maybe, just maybe, there's an issue when it comes to, I don't know, your plumbing. Maybe you got an issue with your main line. Guess what? Busy Bee's there for you to help you out. And they're there for your tankless water conversions. You name it, they've got it all delivered by the best around. And that is Busy Bee Plumbing, HVAC. What are you waiting for? Call them today. Join the Beehive Club, because otherwise you're just foolish. Foolish, I say. Call 775-7833, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
President Trump dropping more headlines. The latest is he says Vladimir Putin would agree to a European peacekeeper force in Ukraine as part of a potential deal. We've got more on that coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to see how he could do that.
Well, we'll see what Putin says.
We do see what the Pooter said, because I don't know if you're aware of this. He's lied in the past.
He wants out of this thing so
He
bad.
does.
It's one of the biggest mistakes of his career.
He needs an off ramp. And you know what? We joke about how many people, have the amount of people that are injured and have been killed. It's not a joke, but we talk about the numbers aren't that big of a deal. They're a huge deal when you consider the issue with Afghanistan when they invaded. You know how it came to an end? It was the mothers of all the dead soldiers. They had had enough. And they said, our kids, they're never coming home. And when they do, they're in boxes. This isn't working. You're not going to get what you want out of it.
That was Brezhnev worried that they were going to have a revolution on their hands if they didn't stop it.
Yeah. And now they're at the same point where these parents aren't just saying our kids are coming home maimed or in boxes, or they're never coming home. They're saying the ones that aren't here, they may never come back now, because they know that they fled. So there's no way they're coming back at this moment in time. So you have brain drained the young men in that country, and then the other ones have all fled. So what now? Because as we talk about the future, over the weekend, I don't know if you saw this, Hungary threw out, Orban threw out, hey, if you're a mother of 2 kids, you don't ever have to you don't have to pay tax again, federal tax. Think about that. I mean, those poor guys had to fly up to space to fight the asteroid to never pay tax, and they didn't even make it back. If you're a mom of 2 kids in Hungary, they're offering you the same deal, and you have to fight an asteroid, which, by the way, every time I turn around, seems to get a little bit better as far as the percentage of hitting us. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It started out 1%. Now they're like, it's 8%, but we should be okay.
Oh, it's 22 now, but don't stress.
I mean, it's going to hit us. We just don't know where. It's probably going to hit. You guys are not good at this.
Hopefully it'll go in the ocean.
Hey, dudes, the last one that size that hit the Earth, in 1908, it cleared out a 1,200-mile area in Siberia.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope it hits D.C. this time.
Well, if it hits, so what I know is if this asteroid does hit a city, it will destroy the city. Yeah. It's not going to destroy the state or whatever. I wonder what happens if it hits, let's just say it hits 100 miles off the coast somewhere.
That's bad.
Huge.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Tsunami is that's otherworldly.
Yes.
What could be coming? Because if you've never seen the tsunami in the Asian tsunami, that thing was ferocious. This would be way bigger than that. So this will be interesting to see. Trump, Macron. Did you marry your husband? Did you marry who'd you marry? No, it's your dad? What is that all about? I don't think that's true. Well, that's what I heard from Candace. Isn't that so weird? How do we get here? You ever wonder that? How do you get to that point when you'd even think about this?
When you've got to check it.
Yes.
To make sure that it's not true.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I better check this because somebody's going to say it's true, and then somebody's going to give some evidence that's somewhat compelling, but it's not real. And the fact that, and I've also been one of these things, man. It's like, okay, why does it matter? I mean, honestly, you don't get any. There's no trophy. It's no Macron trophy when you get there.
Macron
trophy. Oh my Lord! Coming up in hour number 2, big doings. Lots of big doings. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about still. More little DOGE. We've got some other fun stuff, including things you're not supposed to do as you get older. The things you used to love to do. You don't want to do these things because they're not good for you. We'll talk about that, bunch of other stuff. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump with French President Macron sitting next to him moments ago during a Q&A with the media and when the war in Ukraine could end.
I think we could end it within weeks if we're smart. If we're not smart, it'll keep going and we'll keep losing young, beautiful people that shouldn't be dying. And we don't want that. And remember what I said. This could escalate into a third world war. And we don't want that either.
And now Trump saying that Vladimir Putin would accept European peacekeepers in Ukraine as part of a potential deal. We'll keep an eye on that. No one has asked the president about egg and beef prices now. Yeah, beef prices going up. Here's Alex Stone.
Bird flu has now resulted in the loss of almost 27 million birds. Nationwide, the cost of eggs going higher. The wholesale cost for a dozen eggs is now at $8.07. Wholesale is before it hit stores, and stores can set their own prices. The average grocery store price is at about $5 a dozen. This woman is shocked by what she's paying.
I was literally shocked to see the dozen of eggs at $9.26.
And now the cattle industry is reporting beef prices are rising as well because of high supply costs and drought.
Lots going on in the media. Big change for one of the legacy networks, Lester Holt, stepping down as anchor of NBC Nightly News after 10 years. He's still going to have his gig on Dateline. MSNBC host Joy Reid's show has been canceled. And here in Nashville, Nikki Burdine is out as morning anchor at WKRN News 2. It comes not long after her co-anchor, Neil Lorne, left after 29 years at the station. Entertainment news. Grammy-winning singer Roberta Flack has died. She was 88. Her publicist says she died at home, surrounded by her family. In 2022, she had announced she had ALS and could no longer sing. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes' conviction has been upheld by a court. She's serving a more than 11-year sentence for defrauding investors in that endeavor. And right now in Middle Tennessee, Rutherford County Police looking for a 19-year-old man. They say shot and injured a 4-year-old just before 4 o'clock Saturday morning. Happened on Tessa Grace Way in Murfreesboro, where neighbors like Chip Castone said they're scared.
It's been really nice here. We've been here 5 years. We look after each other.
He was speaking to Channel 4 there. 19-year-old Talik Galashaw King, the alleged shooter, is considered armed and dangerous. At the time of the shooting, deputies say King was out on bond for attempted murder charges out of Smyrna. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
We care about you. By the way, I just saw Matt. Matt says he is not going to shave his head, but if it does sell out, he will bick his head.
Yo, what?
He'll bick it. You know what that's called?
Oh, okay.
That's a bit. So back in the day, when you would shave your head fully, you'd bick it, take the bick razor. We don't do that anymore. That's a little bit more white trashing kind of white supremacy. That's not Matt. But he is ready, he said, to cut his hair. I told him get a flat top, solid flat top. I don't even know if I could do a flat top. My hair will grow out, but I don't think I could do a flat top. I think it would be more of a top. It's going to... Kids, we care about you on the show. You guys know that, and I know that. That's why it's time for... Now it's time for the Chad Benson Show Health Watch, where we watch health, but we really don't participate, even though we should. And I'm going to ask you guys this. Fact or fiction when it comes to health? There are so many lies out there. I want to make sure that you guys understand what you should and shouldn't do in life. All right, here we go. Number one, for both of you, ice burn. I mean, a burn, like so you burn yourself really bad. Ice, yes or no?
Yes.
Well, Ken? That's a lie. Never, ever put ice on a burn.
Oh, I thought you meant can ice cause a burn?
No. Ice on a burn.
Okay.
Ice on a burn. There we go. He doesn't even speak English. Here we go. Eating too much sugar will give you diabetes. Yes or no?
No.
No, you're right. Fiction. Sugar becomes glucose in your bloodstream. In response, your body makes insulin to regulate blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes is a problem with insulin, not sugar intake. Okay? So we're helping you guys because we care about you. We want you to get all of this stuff right. We want you to live a long time. We want you to come out, right, on March 4th and hang out with us. Carrots improves your vision. Yes or no?
No.
Correct. It's fiction. If you're blind, you can eat all the carrots you want. You're not going to see. You may turn orange, but you won't see. A person having a seizure can swallow their tongue. Yes or no?
True.
False. Do not do anything when a person is having a seizure as far as putting anything down their throat or trying to stop it with a tongue compressor. It is not good. It can lead to injury, turn a person seizing on their side, and assist with their breathing. Here's an interesting one. After a heart attack, you should usually return to your workouts, yes or no?
No.
Absolutely, you should.
You should?
Yes. Now,
Right
maybe not
after?
working out as hard as you were, because a lot of times it's not the stress of it. It's stuff that's built up. It's plaque and things like that. So you want to get back out there because the problem they find out, and this was interesting. So when they did a big study, that most people who have had a heart attack are afraid to go work out again. And so they put themselves in worse position by not being mobile and active. Ooh. How many glasses of water do you need a day? Fact or fiction? 8.
False.
That's right. There's no specific amount of water you need a day. Your requirement depends on the number of factors, including body size, climate, and activity level. So it can be as little as a few, glasses a day up to a lot more, depending on where you live, if you're sweating it out, if you're working out. So like Bell, he's pretty stagnant, right? How many steps a day you get?
Oh, if it breaks 100, I'm upset.
My uncle, his watch will tell him it's at the point now. I was like, "Are you dead?"
No,
Can we go?
I mean, to be honest, I don't get as much as I should, but I do okay as far as being mobile.
Yeah, you do. I mean, and for me,
having to walk back to the copy machine that's now half a building away gets my steps in.
This is what's great about everything that Bell needs is 300 yards away from him. We've designed that on purpose. Number 8, sitting up straight can be bad for your back. True or false?
False.
True. Sitting up for a long time with your back straightened out is actually bad for you and can strain your back. So you've got to, at times, flex and move your legs around. Number 9, bars of soap are covered with germs. True or false?
False.
That's right. You might leave germs on the soap when you're handling the bar to wash up, but researchers have demonstrated that bacteria on a bar of soap dies within minutes and does not transfer over to you. Number 10, you cannot get the flu more than once in a season. True or false?
False.
It's true. You can get it several times in a season.
I have.
Yeah, a lot of people have. And the final one, you should rinse the toothpaste from your mouth after brushing your teeth. True or false?
True.
Fiction. If you're using non-fluoride,
Well, that's a caveat, though.
Or water to rinse, you're also spitting out the fluoride that's protecting from tooth decay before it can work. So if you need to leave it in there, you're totally fine. And I bring this up because, you know what? Health, I joke about the health. All the things that we talk about here, politics and all that stuff, I want to talk about stuff that, like, gets to our lives. Because so many of us out there, me included, I need to work out a little bit more. You know, it's like I was working out every day when I lived in Arizona. We got out here. I don't have a big backyard. I don't have my pickleball court. Not working out as much. I am walking still. I try to get in. That was the other thing this weekend. How many steps a day do you really need? Is it 10,000? Is it 7,000? Is it 2,000? Like everything else, it depends. Because you could do 4,000 steps and you could do them hard, right, up and down stairs and stuff like that, and you're going to get a better workout than somebody walks 12,000 just regular steps. I try to do 7,000 to 10,000 a day, but it's just little things like this because I care about you guys. I want us healthy. And for all the other stuff that's out there, the reality is this is the stuff we deal with on a daily basis. I mean, how many of, like, you know, you got Ken out there, he's walking little Fritz every day, getting his workout in. Bell's walking his cats. You ever put a cat on a leash?
No, I put my Cobra on a leash.
Guys, I hope you know what he's talking about. He's talking about his Cobra. He's not talking about a Cobra.
I'm talking about a Cobra. It's my emotional support Cobra.
Oh, my Lord. You wouldn't even know what to do with an emotional support Cobra.
That's just, see, now you're just being mean.
So, it's just little things that I care about. Because I like having fun, but I like talking about real stuff. Because, you know, I was just talking to Matt. Matt just went in to the doctors. And he's joking about the fact that he hurt himself playing softball years ago, didn't get it checked out, finally went and got it checked out today, years later, and stuff had started to happen. I told my son's mother today. So my son's playing hockey this weekend, and he gets hammered into the board. The guy gets kicked out of the game, and my son's leg is now swollen, and he's hoping it's not what he thinks it is. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I have a feeling based on what I've seen and heard, he probably tore his ACL or his meniscus. But you know what? He's like, he tried to play on last night. That's a goer, guys. So that's like, I bring this up because I care about us and I want us to be healthy.
He's like, I ain't got time for pain.
He doesn't have time for pain. No. But you've got to be able to, you know, I joke about like a lot of stuff when it comes to politics. Like, how much does DOGE matter? We'll find out at the end of the day. Ukraine, I love the fact that Trump pushed back somewhat Ukraine. I don't like the way he did it because I don't for a second think that Zelensky is any kind of person. He's not even in the same realm of dictator that the Putin is. But if we got something done, that'd be fantastic. That'd be great. But I care about the things that affect us on a daily basis. You know, those things matter. And so much of it is noise. And, you know, the noise is, it's entertaining, right? The celebrities that are out there. But do you know how many people came up to me? We were out at Busy Bee at that show. Several people come up to me and go, hey, thanks for talking to me about the weight and stuff. Because I'm like, yeah, I know, I need to get fit too. Because I saw a buddy of mine over the weekend who was a pro soccer player, big time, and he had a heart attack. He's fine. But it got me thinking, geez, we're like the same age almost. He's a year or two older than me, but he just ran a 5-mile race or 5-kilometer race, and he had a heart attack. And I'm like, that's just it. You know, you start getting to that age because when you're at our age and you think, oh, somebody died, you want to know they got hit by a bus, right? Like, you don't want to know they got a horrible disease or something like that. And that's why, like, I talk about stuff that I think matters to all of us. And yes, I do talk about politics. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about politics. What about the DOGE?
No. That was done in a friendly manner. Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department where they have very confidential things, or the FBI where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they? And we said, if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
That stands.
And you're not getting paid anymore, too. So, you know, we're doing a real job. And We just had a poll come out, I guess the Harvard poll, saying that it's massively popular what we're doing.
Is it massive? It depends on what poll you're looking at. Quinnipiac says the Democrats are the worst. The Harvard poll, by the way, said that they were not thrilled with you, but they are thrilled with this.
More than 120 terabytes of child sex abuse material found in a home in Northern California. And if you know just how much material that is. I'll tell you coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. No, man, this is, yeah. In one home.
That person's going to have a party in prison.
Exactly. Yeah. So I wonder like what it was that, what was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, on this guy? Like, what is it that finally he said, you know what? I'm out, man.
Teenagers.
Yeah, minors.
Yeah. And Puffy's being so delusional. He's like, no, you have to get me off. I didn't do any of this, and that all that evidence is fake.
I believe so. And yeah.
He would work with Osama, but he won't work with Puffy. That's not a rousing endorsement for Puffy.
Yeah, there's got to be something just absolutely definitive. Like, good grief. Wow. That would be something, man.
Can't, by the way. Thank you. Bell's fixed it now. You guys can thank Bell for that, not me. The Pope not doing well, and this I have a feeling, even if he gets through this, that sometime in the near future we're going to have a smoke signal. He's 88. He's having tons of issues, and his kidneys are failing.
Kidney insufficiency is often a common complication or finding that we see in individuals who are battling severe illness or hospitalization. And it can range from pretty insignificant mild injury to more florid kidney dysfunction.
He's 88. He's got double pneumonia. Over the weekend, he was in, critical care. And they say he's doing somewhat okay, and you could pray for him. But then the Cardinal Dolan's like, yeah, he's not doing well. He didn't have long.
Yeah, said he's possibly at death's door.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. They're like, pray for him, but he's pretty much dead. I'm like, does somebody want... You saw Conclave, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
That movie's all about the politics of poping.
Yes. And there's a lot of politics into poping.
Yeah.
According to that movie.
Yeah.
Poping ain't easy.
No, I will say, from what I have heard, because you have to maneuver in such a way to become the Pope, and then once you're the Pope, you build up your own alliances. It's no different than what Trump is doing.
Right.
You're building up an alliance because you need people that are going to have your back, because people that didn't get the job still want that job. And there's a reason they don't give it to somebody. They always vote for somebody who's 75 or 80. Because they don't want what they had with Pope John Paul, which is he has it for 40 years. They want somebody that has it for a minimal amount of time, and then they move on. And this Pope, like you said, poping ain't easy.
As we've learned from this particular case, different organs, different organ dysfunction, different symptoms can start to become involved and start to be affected when someone is critically ill. So this requires doctors, and this is going to require his medical team to take a multifaceted approach and look at everything. So there's not just really one particular thing that they're going to be paying attention to.
I just think he's going to be. At what point do they say he's incapacitated? He can no longer do the Pope and stuff. And do they have a backup? No, they don't. They have to go and vote on it. And that's when they do the secret stuff. And they go in there and the smoke comes out. And then finally the smoke is it white, right? It's white smoke.
White smoke.
Black smoke at first and then white smoke if they come up with it. You think we'll get one? I wonder if we'll get an American, North American, African. They've talked about that. That'd be very woke, right? No trans Popey stuff. That would probably be a bridge too far, but you never know, right? In today's weird world, you never know. Oh, geez, Chad, you shouldn't say that. But I did, so just get over yourselves. Coming up, we got so much stuff still to get to. I want to talk about what took place in Germany this weekend because the Germans went right, not Reich. They went Reich. No, they went right. Why did they go right? It's the same reason that a lot of countries are going a little bit to the right in other places. Because of what they're seeing. Because of what they're feeling. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Some of Ukraine as well. You can reach out to us across all of our social media. We love it when you do. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and your Instagram. Chad Benson Show TV is the YouTube. Like and subscribe. Appreciate when you do that. And, of course, on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our Twitch, on our Twitter. What else? I feel like we're missing something. Friendster. I don't think we have that anymore. Right? No, none of that stuff. What else? I feel like I'm missing something.
Forgot Tinder.
Tinder, right there. Of course.
Tinder.
You guys settle down. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes, and there's a lot going on. We're going to start with President Trump, who says the war in Ukraine could be ended in weeks. Quote, if we're smart, he says. He also says Vladimir Putin would agree to a European peacekeeping force in Ukraine as part of a deal. Meanwhile, a judge in this country has blocked ICE arrests in some churches. Had another airline mishap. Delta passengers forced to evacuate the slides, using the slides, that is, at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport today after haze or smoke was observed on a Delta flight. And attorneys for federal workers filed a lawsuit in California today claiming Elon Musk violated the law with his weekend demand that employees explain their accomplishments or risk being fired. Investigators seizing more than 120 terabytes of child sex abuse material from a home in Northern California. To put that in perspective, 1 terabyte of data is roughly 120 hours of HD video. And Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has lost an appeal to have her fraud conviction overturned. Here's Alex Stone.
A 3-judge panel at the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has rejected Elizabeth Holmes' claims that there were legal errors in her trial and that of Theranos founder Sunny Balwani. Both were convicted of defrauding investors by claiming their company, Theranos, could run a multitude of health tests off a single drop of blood. Their company was once valued at $9 billion. Holmes was sentenced to over 11 years in federal prison. This now leaves her with limited avenues for overturning her conviction.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Retirement Ready Toolkit is ready for you at Beacon Capital Management. They're local. It's a great place to sit down and talk to somebody, especially as you're in retirement or right near retirement. With all the stuff going on in the world, you worry about, of course, your money, investments, and maybe even your retirement. You're going to have to unretire. You don't want that. Call Beacon today and get a free Retirement Ready Toolkit, 615-488-9303. It's a easy thing to do, and here's the beauty of it. There's no cost, no obligation, absolutely no pressure. And like I say, press flesh. Sit down, talk to them locally. You're going to get a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper, all at no cost to you. Don't put yourself in a position where you're worried. Take a deep breath. Call Beacon today. Find out what they can do for you. 615-488-9303. 615-488-9303 or online at askbeaconnow.com. We've had another death when it comes to the Kennedy assassination. Is this the final one now so we can release everything?
He was the agent who raced to the presidential limousine seconds after the shots were fired.
Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent assigned to Mrs. Kennedy, said, and I quote, "He is dead."
For decades, Hill was consumed by grief. In 2022, he told ABC News he'd attempted suicide.
I was ashamed, I guess.
But Hill also reflected then on how lucky he was to have traveled the world with Jackie Kennedy. On his death at 93, the Secret Service calls Hill a worldwide symbol of courage and a revered icon of the agency.
So is this it now? Now that he's gone, is there anybody left so we can release this stuff? I want to know because he's 93, he died, right? There can't be many more left. I know they want to talk to some people that were medical experts at the time, but I'm waiting for this stuff. So let's get this stuff out so we can get it going on, okay? I've been promised stuff, okay? So you heard, actually, while we're at commercial, Dan Bongino, for those of you not keeping score, he no longer has a podcast. He got another job. That is of the deputy FBI.
And clearly being a member of the Secret Service makes you unqualified to work for the FBI, apparently.
Well, duh, you should totally know that. So Andrew McCabe was talking about this earlier, and here's a perfect example of freak out, freak out, freak out.
Well, I'm stunned. I think, Breonna, in the same way that I would expect most FBI people, current and former, are really shocked. I've heard from many of them in the last 24 hours, and this departure from 117 years of history and tradition is really remarkable, not because it's historic and that's a reason for continuing, but because the demands of the job are so unique. They are so broad, of such immense scope and responsibility, that it takes people an entire career, 15, 16, 17, 18 years before typically they're ready to fill this role. So a deep understanding of the FBI, its mission, how it accomplishes that mission, the different tools that are to be used, the capabilities of the workforce, all those things go into it. So to bring in someone who has no connection to that whatsoever is really stunning and dangerous, I would add.
Dangerous. Why is it dangerous? See, that's what I want to know. Why is it dangerous? Tell me exactly why it's dangerous. Because it wasn't like he hadn't worked in government. He had been Secret Service.
It's dangerous.
What's dangerous about it?
It's dangerous.
Yeah. See, because they won't have an answer for that. Well, because he doesn't understand the tradition. What's the tradition? What's your tradition here?
Why should we even care about tradition when it comes to this kind of thing? Just hire the best guy for the job.
There you go. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Bell K, everybody. He's 100% right. Hire the best. And you know what? Right now, people have very little trust in government. And sometimes you need to bring somebody in from the outside to have a different set of eyes that they're not seeing. What's going on in the inside? Because you're too close to the force. And it's become politicized. We don't want that. I don't want that with the FBI. And it's hard. People say, well, these things they're going to become, well, first of all, especially when you get to certain levels, everything is politics. And we were just talking about the Pope, for God's sake. You don't think the Pope does Pope stuff that's political? As Bell said, poping ain't easy. It ain't easy. There's politics in the world of poping. You don't roll around inside the Pope mobile without throwing around Pope politics.
Yeah, I think it was either Tupac or Snoop Dogg that said it first.
Yeah. I think it was Snoop, but he said a little bit different. But poping ain't easy. It's the same thing, man. You get to this stuff. It's all these levels are politics, but human beings are going to have politics involved in everything. But this whole is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because he doesn't understand. He doesn't wear the suit right. What if he wore just a T-shirt to work? Oh, my God. He doesn't have the right shoes on. Let me tell you something. The New York Yankees last week said, you can have beards. They got rid of their you can't have beards. If the New York Yankees can change a little bit, so can the FBI. That's all I'm saying, folks. Definitely can. Germany, for those of you not keeping score, started a few wars. I'm not saying they started all of them, but just the big ones. Germany made a move to the right, not the Reich, the right.
The exit polls show the Conservatives leading with 29% of the vote. The far-right AfD party, meanwhile, coming in second with a record 20%, the most votes for a far-right party in Germany since World War II.
Such a far-right. Are they really far-right? Well, they're anti-immigrant. No, you know what they are? They're anti-multiculturalism. Are there some of them that are anti-immigrant? Yes. But they're anti-multiculturalism. It's the same reason here that the left just doesn't understand with the wide open borders is the same thing that the German politicians are trying to figure out right now. How did this happen? Well, because you've allowed God knows how many people into your country. And in doing so, you have changed the landscape of your country, and you're also changing the culture of your country, which is not what people want. You know, when we talk diversity, again, it's a silly word. This is multiculturalism. And guess what? If you go take everything go into your refrigerator today, take everything out, everything, put it into a big pot and cook it up. What do you bet? It's crap. Because some stuff doesn't work with other stuff. It has nothing to do about the color of the skin or any of that stuff. This has all to do with culture. And Europe's culture is being destroyed. When you saw Vance a couple weeks ago talk about European culture and the thing he worries about, the free speech, it's because their culture is being damaged. Sweden going through all kinds of issues. And they're trying to curb they're basically offering people money to leave their country. The Danes and the Finns. We talked about that with Trevor Noah the other day. Why does it work so well in Finland? Because the Finnish people just Finn. That's all they do. And that's much easier than trying to put 12 different cultures in a room and tell everybody to get along. Hell, most of these people come from cultures where they didn't get along with their own culture. That's why they've left. And the left doesn't understand that. They don't get why this is happening. Well, I can't believe this happened. We should blame it all on Elon and Trump.
This was the party that Elon Musk and Vice President Vance had signaled support for. President Trump saying it's a great day for Germany. This election coming at a pivotal time for Europe and NATO. Friedrich Merz, the conservative leader, is now poised to become Germany's next chancellor. He is pro-Ukraine, pro-NATO, and has been critical of President Trump's outreach to Russia.
Yeah, he has been. He is not 100% on board with everything that Trump is about when it comes to Europe. But when you look at the money and the amount of money we spent, and that includes the amount of stuff we gave comparatively to Europe, and it's in their backyard, we gave a ton. And it's time for everybody to move on, and they want assurances. Apparently, Trump said today that Putin would be open to a peacekeeping mission or group of some sort in Ukraine for peace. Well, he's got a ton of land. That's what he wanted. He gets to go home, which is another thing he wanted. He wants to go home with a somewhat victorious, we stop the West from encroachment, all that's over there, because what he's hoping for is a bunch of Europeans, right? The Germans and the French and the likes of that, because they're like, they're not going to do anything, right? Even if we invaded, we already seen that. They're not doing anything. That's what he's hoping for. He doesn't want Americans there, and Americans aren't going to be there if all goes well. But all of these things are changing because Europe is being remade by a massive influx of people coming there from all over the world, bringing with them their culture, and in many cases, their culture of hard Islamic rule, and they're not blending well. And people are then being told in their own country, you can't say this, and you can't say that. You can't do this, and you can't do that. That doesn't go well. We've had the same thing here, where we've seen God knows how. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many people came across the border in the last 4 years before Trump. I don't know, 10, 12 million, maybe. At least 10 million. Because, you got to put the gotaways in there because they matter. So when you start looking at numbers like that, you don't think you can remake an entire nation over time? The difference is we have a constitution that is strong, and we, as much as the left would like to get rid of a lot of free speech, it isn't happening just yet, thank God. But so many people come to this nation because they look at America and they want to be a part of that culture. I have news for you. There's not a lot of people that go to places like Europe who want to be a part of the British culture, who want to be a part of anything other than their culture just in a place where they feel it's a little bit safer. And all you have to do is look at Sweden to see the nightmare that is and understand that they're trying to make changes where they're literally trying to buy people out of being in Sweden. Bombings, rapes, violent crimes, shooting. When it was all Swedes, it wasn't that. I can tell you that right now. And so when you see countries overdo it with stuff like this, trying to be some sort of virtuose hero, and I'm a virtue signaling, and we're going to be great and allow people in, I get why you'd want to help people. At the same time, if you change your entire culture, people start looking back going, you're messing with who we are as a nation? That doesn't work. And it hasn't. And it's not going to. And that's why it lurched to the right. And I know that everybody's a little scared because they're like, oh, look at this. Here comes the Nazis again. They're not coming. Everything's about the Nazis. But what it did say is, if you don't curb what's going on and see Britain as the insanity part, if you don't curb what's going on, if you allow people to come in and change your culture, what happens like we do here, that'll swing from one pendulum to the other and then back again. And right now, that pendulum is swinging to the right. And Europe is on notice. Yes, indeed. Coming up, more on Macron. Did he marry his dad? Come on, guys. Some of you are going to say that all you have to do is say Macron, and I get 4 or 5 texts or tweets ago, he married his dad. I know. That's what you heard. How would you even start something like that? What could we start that's weird? We got to think about that. What weird rumor could we start that would take off?
That Murphy's a leftist.
Okay, let's start something like that. Let's do it. All right, we'll start something like that. It's coming up. We don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be big. So be prepared for that. If you missed the show, grab the podcast. And we always say, if you don't, Prize Picks, baby. Go to Prize Picks now and download the app. Use my code Chad, and when you play your first $5 lineup, you get 50 bonus bucks right there just for setting that lineup and playing. It is that simple, too. So Prize Picks is, you're not picking teams, picking players, right? So you may look tonight in the NBA, full swing right now. You may go, all right, Luka playing for the Lakers. Holy moly. I think he's going to have more than 23.5 points. Oh, yeah. And you may go, oh, look over here. We got the likes of Steph Curry. I think he's going to hit more than 4.5 3-pointers. You pick more or less. It's that simple. And then you win. It is incredible, and it is easy, and it is fun. And the minute you download the app and you play with my code, Chad, you get an extra $50, and it's only a $5 lineup. That's all you have to play. Do it now. Download the app. Have fun with it. You can win up to $1,000 your money. And tomorrow's Taco Tuesday, so they give even better odds tomorrow. What? Join now. Go to Prize Picks. Download the app. Use code Chad and win. Prize Picks. Download the app today. Run your game. Must be 21 and present in Tennessee. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
First, it was going to be just a couple of hundred stores. Now it's going to be all of them. We'll tell you about it at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, my God. How many stores are there?
Man, you know you're doing good teases when the people that you work with are like, what's the story? What's the story?
I know. We've had all kinds of stuff going down. I mean, you had the Delta flight, right?
Yeah.
Did you see over the weekend the flight going from New York to New Delhi?
Yes. 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 I saw them interviewing a couple of passengers.
Every time we turned around, it's something wacky on an airplane.
Where was this?
So they were flying from New York to New Delhi, and somewhere over like Turkmenistan or Uzbekistan, there was an email that said there's a bomb on board.
Yeah.
So they spun around, had to land in Rome and get everybody off, and they investigated, and they realized it wasn't credible. Then they got back on the plane and flew to New Delhi.
Well, clearly that's because of all the people at FAA that's been fired.
Well, of course it is.
It couldn't be any other reason.
No, God. They're firing so many people. They're firing pilots in the middle of the flight.
Wasn't it like somebody's Wi-Fi just happened to have, among all the weird words, happened to have the word bomb
I don't.
in the Wi-Fi address.
And I get it. We're all a little nervous. And terrorism, you've got to pay attention to terrorism. But there was they even said, they didn't think it was credible, but it was Italy that said you need to come down because they followed them in their jets. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
So they had
fighter jets right on them.
Yeah, they got like Italian jets, right? The guys are all smoking cigarettes as they're flying. They're like, we're coming to get you. Hey, ciao, ciao.
Got an espresso in the other hand.
Ciao. We'll blow you up. Ciao. And that had to be freaky, right? Looking out going, oh.
Yeah, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what their orders are.
No, I don't know. Well, their order was, I think, if you deviate from the flight plan landing, we're to take you down.
Yeah.
So, you followed down. And then today, the people on Delta, and they got to go down the little tube thing.
Yeah, had to slide.
Always somebody gets hurt. There's always somebody that slides off of it, breaks an arm.
Yeah, breaks an arm, twists an ankle.
Always.
Bumps their head.
Because they pay no attention to how you're supposed to go down the slide. And
you're
then
supposed
they
to
end up
lean
paying
back,
the price.
just like you do if you go on a water ride. You lean like a water slide, and you slide down. It's that simple. But nobody does, and they all end up hurting themselves. Oh, geez, goodness me. It's all happening in the skies. By the way, let's just have some fun. Ilhan Omar. I'm going to talk a little bit more about her, but I just want to hear what she has to say.
Because they pay no attention to how you're supposed to go down the slide.
What was that, Belle?
That was weird.
Right? Belle's fired. I don't know. My dad. Did you guys have to fire Belle? I don't know. Where was that from? Goodness me.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again? These people are just idiots.
Yeah, she's fun. We're going to talk a little bit about that. The beauty of our country is she's allowed to say that. The sad thing about our country is, much like Jasmine Crockett, these people root against America.
Yep.
And I can understand you're frustrated with the other side, but would you wonder, let's just rewind it like 8 years, right? Go back to a time when somebody called a bunch of the other side of the aisle supporters deplorables. You've learned nothing else. And now you're like, these people are idiots. They're stupid. You run at bad ideas. You run at stupid things. You continue to do this stuff. But why? Because you can. Here's the thing about her. She's nothing to worry about. She's not going to get voted out. People that are in a situation where it's close, and there's not a lot of those out there, where it's a swing district, you don't say that stuff. People that are in places where they know they can say anything they want and get away with it, they say that stuff. I find it fascinating. This is our politics. It's crazy. It is. Have we decided what we're going to make stuff up? Because you said some stuff about Matt, then it went off on Matt. Poor Matt. He didn't even know. Hair plugs.
Yeah, he's a leftist with hair plugs.
Oh, I don't think that's true. There's some other stuff that we can't say. Oh, Omar married her brother. Macron married his dad.
Macron
married Pops. Come here, daddy, baby. They have kids, right? No. She was too old to have kids. Plus he had a wiener, so that's weird.
Macron.
It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. I see a crash, 40 westbound after McCrory Lane in Pegram. Also in Williamson County, TDOT reporting debris blocking the right lane, 840 eastbound near 65. Full forecast in 5 minutes. A well-known retail chain specializing in fabrics and arts and craft supplies shutting down completely. A couple of weeks ago, Jo-Ann Fabrics says it'll be a couple of hundred stores. But today, nope, they're going completely out of business, closing every one of its stores nationwide. Big round of layoffs announced today at Starbucks. 1,100 of its 16,000 corporate employees are going to be laid off. Baristas in stores and those who work in roasting and warehouses, they're not going to be affected. Meanwhile, Apple says it plans to invest $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. Going to build a new factory in Houston, Texas to make servers to power Apple's version of AI and create thousands of jobs. And President Trump today from the White House talking about the war in Ukraine could end in a couple of weeks.
The deal's being worked on. We're, I think, getting very close to getting an agreement where we get our money back over a period of time. But it also gives us something where I think it's very beneficial to their economy.
Trump hosting French President Macron at the White House. They're speaking right now. We'll bring you highlights of that all day. How about that email that Elon Musk sent to federal workers over the weekend, seemingly threatening termination if they didn't fill out the questionnaire, Mr. President?
We have people that don't show up to work, and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working?
Well, that may be on hold as attorneys for federal workers filed a lawsuit in California today claiming what Musk did is a violation of the law. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson speaking today at the Americans for Prosperity Forum in D.C. was asked how they're going to get Trump's agenda passed.
Because we only have to have 53 Republicans in the Senate right now, doing something with a bare majority is the way to go. So we will use the reconciliation process to check a lot of the boxes of the promises that we made, and that is how we will get to the cost of living.
The Vatican released a new statement today regarding the hospitalization of Pope Francis as he battles pneumonia. They say that reduction in kidney function is not a cause for concern. And big change for one of the legacy media members. Lester Holt stepping down as NBC nightly news anchor after 10 years. He's still going to have his Dateline gig. Here in Nashville, the Tennessean says Nikki Burdine is out after 7 years anchoring WKRN News 2 mornings. Neil Orne left the morning anchor desk there after 29 years. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Weather can change in an instant, and you need to be prepared for any outcome. That's why Generator Supercenter of Nashville will help keep your family safe and connected. We make buying a backup generator simple and easy, with financing options available, free in-home estimate, turnkey installations, no worry warranty, and most importantly, the monitoring and service of your fully installed generator. Come see us at our location in Nashville or visit us online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
Stuff has melted. You need USS. That's right, United Structural Systems, because you have no idea. Now that stuff has melted, the water that was standing is there. It's kind of, you don't know where it's at. Could it have gone places that will maybe making your house a nightmare? Could some of those pipes, burbs, burst a little bit? Maybe there's some cracks in them. All of a sudden, you got mold, wood rot. You may even need structural repair, and you want to stay ahead of the water damage. Call USS, United Structural Systems. They got over 30 years experience in basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, and foundation repair. USS is there. Absolutely free inspection. They're not going to sell you anything unnecessary. And at a time like this, when you don't know what happened underneath, it's good to know, and they're the experts to do it. Call USS if you've got any worry whatsoever. 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com. It's good to see that the Pope is doing better, even though he's not doing great.
Not doing great, but apparently doing better.
I don't even know what that means.
Apparently this kidney thing's not a big deal, according
he's
to
88. Everything's a big deal.
I was getting ready to say.
Hey, he's still poping. That's all that matters.
That's well, poping, man. Poping is tough, right? What did you say?
No, poping ain't easy.
Poping ain't easy. You think you're poping right? You better pope and watch out. You know what I love is you were talking about, what's her name, Elizabeth Holmes? What do you mean they're not going to let her out of jail? Remember when she had that weird voice?
Oh, anytime she would do an interview, she tried to make it sound like she was,
Hi, everybody. It's me, Elizabeth Holmes.
I'm a very smart person.
With one prick of the finger, you could find out what's wrong with your entire life, except for none of it works.
Now give me your check.
Now give me your $50 bazillion check. You know what her big mistake was? She screwed over the wrong people. Right? If you're just an average investor and you invested something like that, but you took a bunch of money from people that were movers and shakers in the, not just the business world, I'm talking about in the political world, and that cost you. And now she's in jail for the next 10 years. The best bet is to call Trump and see if he could help. She modeled herself after Steve Jobs. That's why she wore the black turtleneck.
I don't recall Steve ever going to prison.
No, he didn't. But she modeled, her whole thing was she wanted to wear all black all the time. She spoke like that because that's not what she really speaks like.
Yeah, she has a much higher pitched voice.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. So bizarre. Such a weird thing. Speaking of weird, Brian Stelter. Oh, he's fun.
It makes a lot of sense.
Can we just all hope that Brian gets the job?
Remember, we call him the potato.
The potato. That's right. Potato. You guys ready for him? He's talking about the DOGE, which I don't really want to talk about, but he's just talking about the email going to the people to justify. Just through 5 things that you did last week. That's all. You showed up. Could be one.
It makes a lot of sense, in theory, to go and ask all the employees what they're doing. Right? Elon Musk would say that's common sense. Mm-hmm. He did this to the then CEO of Twitter before forcing out the CEO of Twitter and taking over Twitter a couple of years ago. And I think we should recognize, to a lot of Americans, this makes perfect sense, right? Tell us what you did last week. What are your accomplishments? Lots of people are used to doing that in their jobs. Of course, it gets really complicated really quickly when you're dealing with classified information, or if you're not checking your work email over the weekend. So I understand it's not the common sense that he claims it is, but I think we should understand why people, this appeals to people, why the memes appeal to a lot of people, right? It's actually nonsense, but it sounds like common sense.
Mm-hmm. No idea what he said there. It's nonsense, but it sounds like common sense.
That's okay, man. He didn't know what he said either, so why should you?
Oh, spectacular. So why it's interesting you said that. Again, the DOGE, great. I hope they find a bunch of stuff. Realistically, they found about $7.2 billion that they can cut. Oh, the rest of it's all going to be decided in courts. But where the average person, you and I, come in, we have to justify every day why we come to work. We have to justify every day what we're doing. They weren't even coming to work in droves. I mean, we're talking about people that when COVID came, they're like, all right, you guys, you can go and work out of the house. And years later, they've got buildings with hundreds of thousands of square feet that are empty. And I like what he said about, I want you guys to listen to this again, about the CEO of Twitter.
Right. Elon Musk would say that's common sense. Mm-hmm. He did this to the then CEO of Twitter before forcing out the CEO of Twitter.
He owns Twitter. He is the CEO of Twitter. He owns Twitter. He's the boss hog of Twitter. So forcing out the CEO, well, he came in, said, what do you do? And alas, there you go. It falls on deaf ears because all of us have to justify why we're there. All of us have to justify each and every day why we keep our job. It sounds, oh, do we? Yeah, you do. Because if you're not making the cut at some point in time in the private sector, what happens? You go. If you're not making the cut at some point in time, even if you are making the cut, we work in an industry that is very much like this. Even if you're doing great, sometimes it doesn't matter because it comes down to a dollars and cents thing. And when you refuse to justify what goes on, when you refuse to talk about it on what you're making or have this entitlement attitude that so many people have seemed to have had, that frustrates the average person who doesn't feel pity or sympathy, especially when they see Starbucks laying people off, Meta laying people off, Apple laying people off, a bunch of people being laid off from other jobs. They don't feel. Why are you not out protesting there? Why are you not walking the streets going, give the people back their programming jobs? You're just not doing it. Why is that?
Look at this. There are roughly 3 million federal workers. The price tag that the taxpayers pay is right at $271 billion a year. Is it too much to ask for them to verify why they're making an average salary of $106,000 a year? Do you think in the private sector that single mom who is working 2 jobs at a restaurant can't justify where she was, or the hygienist at the dentist's office can't verify how many patients they saw? The absurdity and I guess the arrogance of the workers who says that's a heavy lift is what's wrong with that's what the Americans are sick and tired of. It's not their money. We're the ones who are paying the bills. We have a right to know. And Elon Musk is, the numbers don't lie on what he's finding out.
I don't know what the numbers are totally going to say, because here's the problem that Ken and I talk about all the time. To find the right numbers, you've got to go 55 different places, and by then you're not even sure that the data getting into certain places is actually the right numbers themselves. Elon's already said, I don't bat 1,000. 55 billion is what they saved. Actually, it's closer to probably 7.2 billion, and some of this other stuff is going to be, court decided. That being said, I look at this and I say, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't. I mean, every year, many companies send out questionnaires about what you have to do for your job. What have you done for your job? How have you grown through the years? How are you a positive influence on your coworkers or teammates or whatever it is? Every year. So this is nothing different. Now, there are several, when they talked about the classified, they've already told, don't send anything classified through here, okay? And that's why Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and Hegseth have all said, we'll handle our own, and that's fine. But there's nothing wrong with asking some questions. And it goes back to whether or not we're going to save any money. It goes back to, it's not your money. That's your job. Great. But it's America's taxpaying dollars that pay for that. So you should be held to a certain standard and accountability when it comes to this. And there's nothing wrong to ask the question that all of us would be asked, yet somehow you feel entitled that you shouldn't have to answer it and that these jobs are your jobs almost by birth. Oh, Michael Steele.
I would actually, you know what? I'd just like you to show that you give a damn, that you got a little emotion about the fact that people are losing their jobs indiscriminately, that this individual sitting down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given absolute power to one man who brings his son into the Oval Office, whose son says to him, "You're not the president. You shouldn't be in that chair." Now, where did he get that from? He got it from his daddy, because that's what his daddy thinks of the man who brought him into the Oval Office.
Oh, God. They're just, I mean, this is insane. Like, that's because he got it from that guy. Really? Really? Is that what you feel, honestly? You're trying to justify the disdain for Elon, and I got zero problems with that. Go ahead. You can't stand anything about him. You can't stand anything about this president. Again, I don't care. Good. Knock yourself out. It's the beauty of America. We have free speech. Go ahead and let it be heard. But you continue to throw a fit on something that you can't stop, and both sides are either ruining the demise of America or celebrating some sort of great victory when none of those things have happened. This is all going to take time. It is. And Elon, like everybody, do you think that when corporations look at where they have to cut, that they're looking at the individual? They're not. What are they looking at? They're looking at numbers. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at numbers. The people close to them have to have the conversations, but at the top, it's all about numbers. It's dollars and cents. Can we justify that every one of these people should be in their job? Because maybe they could be all great at their job, but we don't need 15 of you. We only need 5. Oh.
So I just like to see somebody wake the hell up and get excited about the fact that your country is under assault. They're not at the gate anymore. They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of X, but now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody seems to give a damn. So that's all I want, somebody to show that they care enough to get off their fat ass and say something about it.
Mike, calm down. Calm down. I know, my goodness me. You French kiss your mom with that? Or is that only Macron? Oh, my God, that is just...
Fiddlesticks.
Hey, back there with the mouth.
Do you know how much craziness when we mentioned Macron about the fact that he married his father, supposedly? It's now his mother or his wife. We're not quite sure. And then everybody had to pop up with Michelle Obama. Then everybody had to pop in with, Ilhan married her brother. I mean, we're at, like, the craziness of it all. Tremendous. That guy had a very foul mouth. I would not hang out with somebody like that. Don't you guys know that? Very foul mouth. Michael Steele, who used to be the head of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But he's a conservative. And you know what else he is? He's a guy that needed a gig. And who's going to give him a gig? They gave me a gig over here at MSNBC. So I'm going to say whatever you guys need me to say because you're paying me, $1 million a year.
Yeah, it costs more than they actually make, so I'm trying to make myself look good.
Yeah, because they're firing everybody here. Speaking of that, we've got some audio. She has spoken. We're talking about the one, the only, no joy for Joy Reid. There are tears. There are tears. There are tears, my friends. We are going to talk about that. Trump and Macron are taking questions from reporters. What do you think the first question is?
Are you married to your dad?
Did you marry your dad? Candace Owens said you married your dad. It is so bizarre. You know what's weird? It's like I'll see it on the TikTok or whatever, whatever you're scrolling through, and you look, and there's like 395,000 likes, and you go and read the comments, and you're just like, really? Well, no, look at the pictures. It's not about whether or not he married his dad. No, I think that would be the number one. That's the lead right there. Oh, my Lord, that's insane. Coming up, guys, we do have the first words. If you guys haven't heard, Joy Reid found no joy over the weekend, as her tens of 15s and 20s of people will no longer have a show to watch at night that has Joy Reid because Joy's out.
We will have more listeners at our event at the Nashville Palace than Joy Reid has listeners.
Which, by the way, Brian is coming now.
Oh, is he?
He is
That's
going
cool.
to be there. So you'll have Brian there. You'll have Dan there, who wants hugs. You'll have, of course, Chris there. You will have all of the one and only Matt Murphy there, and potentially only some of them there for a while because we may have to shave his head or whatever if we can pack that place out. And I'll be there as well. No Bell,
March
but Ken
4th.
will be there and Joan will be there.
March 4th.
March 4th. Get yourself out there, buy tickets now. Go to the website, and in fact, if you're on YouTube, right, we have a QR code there.
Correct.
So you can go do that as well. So come on out, hang out with us. It'll be a lot of fun. That's March 4th, starting at 6 p.m. And, of course, Matt's going to be there broadcasting live. We'll all be there throughout the evening. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Birch Gold in times of uncertainty. It's a great thing to do is to diversify yourself. Birch Gold will allow you to do that because gold has been around forever and a day, and it's a great way. We've got inflation. We have the potential of things not being as steady as we would like globally. And let's not forget the fact that the stock market's a little shaky right now. Gold, gold, gold. And, hey, I don't want to forget about the dollar and the weakening of that. Smart thing to do is put your money in a place where you can diversify yourself, whether you're moving over a 401k or an IRA. They could do it for free over there. It's not going to cost you anything at Birch Gold, backed by gold, which is fantastic. Or whether you're just looking for some diversification, Birch has you covered. Now, here's a great thing. Get the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era. It's absolutely free, and a free investment kit from Birch. All you have to do is text the word Benson to 989898 today to get both of those things. Really think about some of the things you can do to diversify yourself in uncertain times. Birch has you covered. Why don't you text the word Benson now to 989898 today to get yourself an investor kit and the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era from Birch Gold.
We are monitoring President Trump and French President Macron with a joint news conference at the White House right now. Earlier today, Trump said Vladimir Putin would agree to a European peacekeeping force in Ukraine as part of a deal to end the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Denny's is now slapping a surcharge on breakfast. That's coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
What? Denny's?
Waffle House did it too.
Waffle House? My God, it's all happening. And we're not even talking about beef.
Yeah.
It was an extra $2 because of that at Waffle House.
Man, that's well, I was watching a story today. There's a little restaurant in Fresno. They spent $5,000 a month, or they're spending more now, $5,000 more a month on eggs.
Goodness.
I'm like, what's in the eggs? Is there heroin in your eggs? I mean, why's your eggs have a street value? I don't think it's very nice, Chad.
You know what? I haven't had any problem finding eggs past couple of weekends.
I have not either. And we've got some at the house. So if you guys are looking for a dealer, I'm a little egg dealer. Walking around with a trench coat at night because you guys want an egg?
You got any large browns?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's talk about it after.
I got a dinosaur egg as well. Also a couple ostrich eggs. I think you're going to like these.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's talk about that.
Large browns.
Large browns.
How much for a lid, dude?
I got white wobblers. You got some white wobblers?
What?
Chad with the white wobblers. It's that's a perfect example though when we talk about like Trump could go out and he could fix all that ails the world. But if the economy is crap, people will struggle with it.
Yep.
And man, immigration could not get fixed. There could still be a war raging, all of that stuff. But if we're booming and you're making more money, you got more money in your pocket, like, I don't care.
Yep.
That's it. That's the winning. The biggest winning is the economy. If you win in the economy, you win everything. The rest of it doesn't matter. Yes, it matters, geopolitically, or it matters in certain areas. But when you think about it, if you're making more money today, like if you got a raise, economy's booming, your 401k's up, you can go, man, rates are down. I'm going to go buy a house. Life is good.
That's the only reason he lost the election to Biden was the fact that COVID crashed the economy, or the leftist states crashed the economy by closing down.
Because we're protecting everybody all the time. But man, if your life is good, you're like, I'm not changing my jockey bid horse. Ain't no way I'm going to do that. If you're sitting there and you've got a 10% raise and inflation's at 2% and you're back where eggs are back for, I don't even know what eggs cost. I know what they are now, $400 an egg.
That's just for the large browns.
It's kind of weird that you sell your eggs in kilos. Let's call some Cuban guys. I got some stuff coming over. But if you are sitting there and you've got a booming economy, and he knows. That's the whole thing with all of this stuff. Like Macron's, he understands that a quiet Europe, better for the economy because you got oil flowing. That's going to be cheaper. You got things rolling in a much better way. People got smiles on their faces, got a few bucks in their pocket. They can start paying down some of this credit card debt. They're getting relief, right? Their check that used to go, hey, I used to be able to save one of my checks. Now it's like I have to get an extra check to cover the other checks that don't go as far. Well, if you get back to where you're saving a bit of your check, you got a little money, that's a win. That's what people want. And so if he doesn't fix immigration 100%, you'd be like, man, he's trying. If he doesn't get the Ukraine war, the Israel war finished, he's trying. If he fixes immigration and he fixes the Ukraine war and he fixes Gaza, he could get to the point where there is peace in the Middle East. But the economy goes, you know what people will say? Got to move on. It's about the economy. And that's going to be his biggest test. And by May, June, kind of becomes his. And this is when things are going to really come to a head where he's got to steam on. And he understands what's coming. And as long as you're honest with the people that we're going to have to tighten our belts in certain areas, and that there may be some tougher times in certain places, but stay with me because long-term, this is what it looks like. Things will be fine. But the only blaming the other guy only goes so far for so long. And I think the economy will be okay, but I think we're going to have a few turbulent weeks and months maybe before we get there, especially as he just said now that he's going to impose tariffs on both Mexico and Canada, and they're still going through with that. So we're going to have some, we'll have some turbulent times, but how much and how long can you go?
Don't take my avocados away.
Yeah. Did you see what they hit us for all kinds, like 250% on milk and butter and weird stuff like that? Canadians. You guys know who we're talking about there.
Governor Trudeau needs to be careful what he's doing.
Oh, is he married to his mother? No, but he's married to a lady that's a little bit older than him, right? Wasn't she his teacher?
Are you talking about Macron or Trudeau?
Trudeau.
I don't know. I didn't know he was married.
Yeah, he's married. See, it's all happening. I'm sure one of you guys will come up with something fantastic. Coming up, Joy Reid. She's no longer with the program. Not our program. She was never on our show. Although she was on our show a lot, just never the way you thought. We'll talk a little bit about that, bunch of other stuff. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
All right, drivers, still got debris in the right lane, 840 eastbound near 65 there in Williamson County, and police reporting an injury crash 40 westbound at McCrory Lane. Full forecast in 5 minutes. We're monitoring President Trump and French President Macron during this joint news conference at the White House. Earlier today, Trump said Vladimir Putin would agree to a European peacekeeping force in Ukraine as part of a deal to end the war. Trump doesn't have an issue with Elon Musk's new warning for federal workers over the weekend. Reply to an email asking for your accomplishments or risk losing your job.
We have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working?
Well, today, a lawyer for a group of federal employees filed a lawsuit in California claiming Musk's email violates the law. Starbucks getting ready for a large round of layoffs, 1,100 of its 16,000 corporate employees. Joann Fabrics says it's going out of business, going to shut down every store across the nation. And against the backdrop of these tech sector layoffs and the threat of tariffs from the Trump administration, Apple planning a major investment in its U.S. infrastructure, says Jim Ryan.
Tim Cook was at the White House last week, and while the Apple CEO was silent after his meeting with President Trump, Trump was not.
He's investing hundreds of billions of dollars. I hope he's announced it.
Cook had not, but today Apple confirms that it'll spend $500 billion and hire 20,000 people over the next 4 years as it builds out its research and development and manufacturing within the United States.
Denny's is the latest restaurant to slap an egg surcharge for meals, but isn't saying which locations or markets will see the increases. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Rough Greens, you guys hear me talk about it every single day. It is a supplement, powder form. You give it to your dog once a day on top of their food. They love the taste. You'll love what it does for them. Right now, you're going to get a free Jumpstart trial bag. All you have to do is go to roughgreens.com, use code CHAT. You cover the cost of shipping. They get it out to you free. They're also doing something. They want you to take the 90-day challenge. So let me tell you about the 90-day challenge. First 30 days, shinier coat, increased energy. By day 60, what you're going to notice is stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function because you're giving them live nutrients in that one scoop a day. And by day 90, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health. You might even have reduced their chance of cancer. So what's amazing about Rough Greens, it works big time. I give it to my dogs, and they have Meow Greens. I give it to my cat every single day. Take the 90-day challenge and get a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. Go to Rough Greens, that's RUFFgreens.com. Use my code CHAD. You cover the cost of shipping. $20 value. They get it out to you absolutely free. Roughgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Ladies and gentlemen, over the weekend, Joy Reid, the great broadcasters of our time. Very few have race-baited like she has. Let's go back in time and listen to some of the greatest hits that Joy has put out there. Ladies and gentlemen, she's with us but not with us. Enjoy the dulcet tones of the mix and mash of Joy Reid.
Donald Trump had one crisis. It was called the pandemic. You bollocksed it. Trump is casting his administration like it's a reality TV show. That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch, like what Castro used to do. A Mussolini moment. You know, a member of the old Russian Tsar family. We do have a fascist groundswell in small pockets among black and brown men, too.
Where are the black Nazis?
Bring them here. Don't care about Joe Biden. Biden, he could roll around in a wheelchair. He could be on a skateboard. Donald Trump cannot be allowed back into the White House. Trump was returned to the presidency after staging a coup. It's the elephant in the room. Still a brown lady. She's getting birthered by Donald Trump. Targeting trans people is an age-old tradition, which Nazi Germany did. Who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. Like Trump, Hitler was also viewed as a clown, a goon to our local gangster, Donald Trump. He's already spending his time sitting in his golden palace, Mar-a-Lago, muscling other countries like he's Tony Soprano with a social media site. And they will control enough electoral votes to never have to worry about another presidential election. Iowa is about 61% evangelical white Christian. They see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country. Republican voters don't vote that way. They don't vote based on economics. They're voting on race. It's him or Trump. It's literally you go to a dinner and your choices are steak or a pile of poo.
She's dumber than a box of rocks.
Oh, that's not very nice.
I got some audio of her getting fired, talking about the show.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear it. Everybody knows it. Oh, that was from, I believe, Family Guy when they went to India. Right? This sucks and you failed and you know it. Speaking of that, we do have some real audio from earlier today. Now, I just want to preface this. I'm not a Richard like that. While she's a race baiter, she's a lot of things. She's a human being. She lost her job. And let's be real. There are some jobs you lose, you ain't never getting a job like that again. Right?
She'll probably fail upwards, though.
No, I don't know if she will. You know what? If she's smart, she'll go to and start and do what everybody else who's smart and goes, you know what? I'll take control of my own life. I'm going to go to social media. I'm going to build my own little thing and go from there. The problem is nobody watched you in regular television. See, people watch Tucker, and he was entertaining. Take Tucker's, some of his wackiness aside, he was entertaining. Nobody's going to watch you because you're not entertaining. There are lefties out there I watch, and I find them, you know what? They're entertaining because they don't always talk about politics, and they don't hate Trump. Like, you can look at Bill Maher. He's not a fan of Trump at all, but you know what? He's entertaining. People can stand to watch him a little bit.
And he's also not an absolute wingnut either.
No, he's not a wingnut. She is a wingnut. We all know that. But this is her earlier today talking about it. But, you lose a gig like that, man, that's got to be tough, Imagine all the hate you can't spread anymore.
My show had value, and that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza.
We'll come back to this. First of all, 1619. Do you know how many historians, even Black historians, have yeah, that's a bunch of crap. It's all a bunch of BS. None of it's real. She's making stuff up. She got called out on places Hannah-Jones was going to go speak because historians, Black and white, are saying, no, you're wrong. You're swing and a miss. And they were like, hey, we can't have you here because you're BSing everybody. We can't have you here. This is wrong. And again, I don't. If you're her, you would absolutely feel horrible. You lost your gig. But by the way, just to let you know, do you think she walked away empty-handed? You would be wrong. Joy Reid was earning around, okay, here's a guess. What do you think she was earning, guys?
$4.5 million.
$3 million a year, but that's a pay cut. But she just signed a new contract.
For 2.8.
No, she was making more than $3 million. She signed a new contract that'll pay her three, and apparently they're going to pay her out all of this stuff, which is fine. Good. That's what you signed a contract for. They got rid of you. They moved on. You got some money. Life is okay for you. You're not going to starve, right? You're probably worth $10 million.
Yeah, but dude, what good is $3 million if you're in a camp that the president threw you into?
Well, you can, buy cigarettes and do whatever.
Well, that's a good point.
Lucy's. You could buy Lucy's with those things. Let's hear a little bit more of Joy, not so joyous Reid.
And the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
Well, there you go. So she's gone. I don't know what we're going to do now. I hope they bring Brian back. Brian, come on back, Mr. Potato. No, I don't really care. I mean, it's when you think about it, she lost her gig. Sucks. But most of you aren't getting $3 million a year for, I don't know how long, because it was a new contract, so I'm sure it was a multi-year deal. So she hasn't been in it that long. And see, that's what happens. So here's the smart thing that, and the thing that probably would frustrate a lot of people. If you know you're on your way out, and the lady that ran this before, MSNBC, they knew everything was going sideways, what do? You sign everybody to new deals because you know they're probably going to get rid of them, and now your friends are taken care of. So she probably got, I don't know, she'll probably get $6 or $8 million to walk away. And she'll go start a podcast, and like somebody just said, take her 10 to 15 listeners and go over there. And, for the first 6 months or a year, she'll probably try to do a podcast, and, we'll see what happens from there. But she's going to walk away with a few bones. She's a church girl. Somebody said, even the gays hate her. Yes. My other producer, not Bell, he is gay. He's from my national show.
You just made it sound like I am the one who's gay.
No. I said my other producer, okay. Not Bell. Are you even listening to our show?
What, the show that you do on 100 radio stations around the country?
No, the one I just said now. My other producer who is not Bell. And you're like, you just made it sound like I was gay.
What show? Sorry.
He's gay and he can't stand her. He thinks she's the worst person ever.
She loves to wallow in the negativity.
Because they think it works.
Yeah.
They think somewhere along the line, by saying the world is coming to an end, that it works. That somewhere along the line, by telling everybody that this is it, there's no coming back from this, that Donald Trump has put everybody in this constitutional crisis that can never be saved, that this is it, that the world is falling apart, and that Putin has won, and that Xi has won, and that Trump has sold out to all of his friends, and that everything is over, and they love that. And then they put it into race. And there you go. Voila. Away it goes. Because that's the other thing they love to push. But the thing is, most black people, right, who are just basically Americans, right? Like, and I'm sure she's talking to other people from different countries, but I'm talking about most people of color, BIPOC, they think she's full of crap. You're playing to an academic, small crowd who is in most cases well-to-do, and you're trying to make sure that you reinforce their complete victimhood in everything. And it didn't work with the average person. That included all of the stuff for MSNBC in the run-up. That included so many things that they failed at, and it just doesn't work. Even now, when people are freaking out over DOGE or Trump did this or there's an executive order here, what did I say last week? I gave you the parable of the Chinese farmer. We'll see. None of this stuff is set in stone. None of this stuff is. All of it at this moment in time, as much as they try and they want to get rid of all of this stuff, it is going to take a yeoman's job to get any of this stuff done. And even at that point in time that you get some of it done, is it worth the hassle at this moment in time? No, hyper-focus on certain things. Let him, Elon, deal with the DOGE, but know that all of this is going to be figured out in court. That's why I keep saying the economy, man. You make that economy rip, everything else, secondary. Absolutely. Coming up, he says he's not shaving his head. We think he is because we're not going to allow him to walk out of there with hair. Matt Murphy will join the program. Am I right?
He has a bumpy head, though. He doesn't. He's stressed about going bald ever, which is why he works at PAI, so his bumps don't ever show on his head.
That's it. And it takes you have to, and you can ask Dan this in the morning, there's a certain dome that you have to be bald. Not everybody has it. Some people look a little bit like the alien. You don't want that. I'm just letting you guys know that's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Hey, by the way, guys, the MILF Tour Festival is going on in Wisconsin. Matt Murphy, are you ready for this? Saw this today. Creed and Nickelback, 2 nights with Lit, 3 Doors Down, 311, Daughtry. I mean, we can go on and on. Seven Dust. It is the 1990s in full effect.
When you get to Daughtry, you don't have to go on and on.
No, you don't. I'm excited for
That's
Creed
about it.
and Nickelback. You can say all you want about them, but they sold between them 103 million albums.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people with bad taste in the world.
That's okay. I'm okay
So
with
what did you call that? The
MILF Tour.
The MILF Tour.
Yeah, it's a MILF festival. Right.
The mothers I'd like to be friends with?
That's exactly what it is. Just friendship. That's all we're looking for.
That's what we're going for. Say it. So Creed,
So the first night is
I'm just
Nickelback.
not a fan of music. That's what it is.
What?
It's got to be what it is. I like some Sinatra.
Are you
Some
serious?
Rolling Stones. Waylon. That's good.
I like that too.
Creed, I don't know. See, I lose it somewhere in the late 1990s. I lose my ability to know what band I'm listening at. I like a lot of those songs. In all seriousness, I'm certain that I enjoy Nickelback songs.
Oh yeah, everybody knows one.
But I couldn't name one, and I think that has a lot to do with the amount of drugs that I was using in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
By the way, just to let you guys know, Nickelback, for all the hatred, they're playing with Kid Rock, Hank Williams Jr., Leonard Skinner, Travis Tritt, Aaron Lewis, Big Rich, and more. Creed's going to be at the Stagecoach Festival in April.
I always thought, and I'm so disconnected to popular culture nowadays, I always felt like the Nickelback hatred was performative.
Oh, it's totally performative.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing Journey got in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's very performative.
Yes. Oh, my God, I hate them.
Yeah,
and
but
I listen to them
knows-
by myself in the car.
Like ABBA, right? Like when Rockstar comes on or Photograph. Look at this. Everybody knows the song. Same thing with Creed. Well, I just heard. Oh, come on.
I mean,
It's a
ABBA
hit,
sucks, but
ABBA does not suck.
did his expression change behind me?
Yeah, he's very upset.
Whatever. I've paid my money to those people.
No time for you.
I can say whatever I want to about them. I bought you a T-shirt.
Oh, did you?
Oh, and the Greatest Hits
And the Greatest
Volume
Hits
3.
album.
Oh, my God. See, they have Volume 3. You know they're doing well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about all that. But
I mean, they're doing Volume 3.
I mean, everybody could throw out. I mean, that's just a band that's phoning it in for money, right?
No, I don't think
Volume
so.
3?
Because if they were phoning in for money, they'd be on tour right now.
I would ask Bell, but he would start rattling off songs I've never heard of. So I won't do it.
Probably right.
You're probably right. What are you doing today? What are you talking about?
So I've decided on the Matt Murphy show, and others may do as they will. That's the beauty of this radio station. That's the beauty of this country. That if you host a talk show, you can do as you will. But there's so much DOGE. There's too much DOGE. So we are creating an hour of DOGE.
Nice.
The hour of DOGE is going to be 3 o'clock every day for the foreseeable future until I decide to change it. And we're getting the DOGE stuff out of the way. We're talking DOGE. It's very important stuff. I'm not diminishing the importance of the DOGE talk. But the DOGE talk is taking over. It feels like the O.J. Simpson trial right now.
It's too much.
So we're gonna talk, call in, your favorite DOGE stories, your least favorite DOGE stories, what happened with DOGE today, what didn't happen with DOGE today.
What happened with DOGE today?
And then we move on at 4, and we're able to talk about other things. So we're at once highlighting it and segmenting it so that it does not consume everything else on the planet.
I love that. To be honest with you, like even today, I said, how much DOGE can one human being talk about? I really don't care that much about a lot of this stuff at this point in time because it's, you know what? It's all going to be litigated. 74, 75 lawsuits right now. Mm-hmm. This stuff is going to take forever. Over the weekend, they come to find out, I'm watching, several of the people, pundits I like who are like, well, I'm looking at the numbers, and the numbers are closer to 8 billion saved. Some of these contracts weren't really contracts they thought. It's going to take a long time. I'm happy about trying to advance technology and find out what some of these people do, but there's so much hype.
I'm happy about exposing the absolute entitlement of government employees.
That right there is this weird world of, so 1,200 people get laid off at Starbucks. Nobody cares.
That's right.
No.
I mean, where is the outrage?
Yeah.
Where are the declarations that there will be multiple lawsuits demanding that they get to keep their jobs?
Yeah, there's none of that. Right?
There's a lesson to be learned in the difference between...
Joy Reid gets fired? I hear nobody crying over that.
Are we not going to sue somebody?
We just actually played her crying. She was crying.
Who did?
Joy Reid, because she finally spoke today. She went on town hall.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I've
haven't
got it
seen.
for you.
Oh gosh, I want to hear that. That'll make my afternoon.
It's funny. I don't wish any ill will on her. I mean, she's a race baiter. She played the game she played, whatever. But, she's walking away with, she just signed a fat new contract for $3 million a year for several years, because that's what you do when you know that, the person that's running the place is going to be out soon. They handed her, a big contract.
That's how I know you're a better man than me.
So.
I wish a little ill will on her.
Well, she's already had enough ill will.
If I had my ability, Joy Reid, every time she peed, she would have a burning sensation when she urinated for the rest of her life.
Well, that seems a little bit much, and seems like a little too much. I want to think about Joy Reid and her moistness right now. I don't think I needed that.
That's all I'm saying. Or uncontrollably stinky feet.
All of which are coming on the guy that's going to shave his head bald.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. Brian Wilson's coming in to do it.
The fake news has gotten out of control of this radio station.
Oh, coming up, a man who didn't marry his dad. That's right, not Macron, but yes, Matt Murphy, straight ahead, Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
As far as you know.